Coming up on this episode of Northern Vinyl Guy, we've got 12 albums from the 1990s that I would like to see released on a vinyl record. See ya on the flip side. Hello everyone, welcome back to Northern Vinyl Guy. I'm Daryl, and on today's installment we are going to be looking at albums mainly from the 1990s, but there is one from the 2000s that were never released on vinyl record. Most of these albums came out while I was in high school, and so with that I'm going to be kind of maybe giving a little bit of a story or some kind of an interesting fact about these albums and why I think that they should be released on vinyl. Keeping in mind that I do understand that there are some bands that are in here, not necessarily that they're obscure, but for various reasons. Maybe it's the record label, or maybe just the band has no interest whatsoever, or even their fan base would not have any interest in these being released. But in my opinion, I would love to see these released on vinyl. And so, with that, if you are new to my channel, please feel free to leave me a thumbs up, leave some comments down in the section below, and please subscribe to my channel. If you are a continuing viewer, I appreciate that you come out and watch every time, and I hope that you enjoy this episode. So without further ado, let's get to these 12 albums that I think would be great to see released on a vinyl record. So basically the way that I'm going to do this is I'm going to go with the record at number 12, which would be my, least want on a vinyl record. And once I get to number 1, that would be the one that I would want to see the most released on a vinyl record. So at number 12, we have a Canadian band from Sault Ste. Marie, Ontario. To my knowledge, they had some hits in Canada. They were mainly popular in Canada in the 1990s, but I do believe that they had one hit for sure. They might be even considered a one-hit wonder, but the band Treble Charger. And what I'm going to do is I do have these on CD, but in a few videos ago I had mentioned that I threw out all the cases and covers to my records, or to my CDs. So what I'm going to do is I'm just going to leave a picture of each of the albums up here as I mention them. So yeah, Treble Chargers, Maybe It's Me from, 1997. It has the hit song Red on it. 1997, I was in grade 12. This was played, at all the dances. This band is more of a rock, but indie rock kind of thing, an indie band. But the song Red was one of those slow dance songs, so it was played at all the high school dances. The rest of it's pretty cool stuff. If you like indie music and you like indie rock, then I think that you should give Treble Charger a little bit of a listen. And check them out. Listen to the song Red. Should be able to stream it if you'd like, but I would love to see that one released on vinyl record. At number 11, we have the band Spirit of the West and their 1992 album Faith Lift. And this is the album that features the hit song And If Venice Is Sinking, which is a great song. I believe that Faith Lift was the first Spirit of the West album that was not released on vinyl. It might have been the one that was before this, but Faith Lift definitely, according to Discogs, was not released on vinyl record. And Spirit of the West actually holds a special place kind of in my heart. I can't remember the exact year. I might have been in grade 12 or 13, and the small town that I was growing up in, Spirit of the West actually came up to do a small performance at our local arena. I have no idea the reason why they came up, but I do remember that it was held and I went to the concert. I even got a poster. I never was able to keep it. I think it got damaged or whatever, but it was autographed by all the members of the band and all this kind of stuff. But the most vivid memory I have is during and if Venice is Sinking, when they performed it, some knucklehead decided to throw something on stage at the band. There might have been like 50 or 60 people at this particular concert, and the band stopped playing and whipped something right back at them. Basically, it was a threat. They basically told everyone that if anybody was going to throw anything else up on stage, they would just cancel the rest of the concert and go home. So needless to say, the crowd was pretty eager to keep them there. It wasn't because of how small the town I grew up in was. We didn't have very many concerts coming up to that location. So Spirit of the West, Faith Lift at number 11. Number 10. This is one of the few bands that I would probably want to be a completionist of. As many of you know, I hold a series called Canadiana. And one of the bands that I've mentioned previously in my Canadiana series is a band called Glass Tiger. One of my favorite Canadian bands. I know some people have a hate on for them. They just find them to be too, I don't know, too pretentious, I guess. But they did a greatest hits album in 1993, and it was called Airtime, The Best of Glass Tiger. So I have most of their previous records on vinyl, the ones from the 80s, but I do not have this on vinyl because it doesn't exist. Now, the cool thing about Glass Tiger's Best Of series, at least for me, it brings back a memory of me being in grade 9. I remember when this came out distinctly because I bought this. I had my first job. I was working at a clothing store. I ended up getting it. I don't know if it was through Columbia House or something like that. But my dad was a security guard at a gold mine, and the manager of the gold mine had asked my parents if I wanted to babysit their son. So I was all excited to go and babysit this kid. I'd never been in a really big fancy house before or anything like that. I went there and they went out for dinner, and had a night out on the town. But I brought this Glass Tiger Airtime with me, and I was listening to it with the boy that I was babysitting, and yeah, him and I had a great time just dancing and listening to it. I mean, it features all their great songs. Thin Red Line is on there. My Town, Diamond Sun. Those are all on this particular album. It's their greatest hits. Up until 1993. So anything that you would remember, and that includes all their big hits in the US. So if you remember Glass Tiger from the 1980s, these greatest hits would be all you would need. But as I am a completionist, at least with this band, I would love to see that released on vinyl record. So Glass Tiger, Airtime at the number 10 spot. Number 9 is a British singer. Definitely considered a one-hit wonder. In 1995, she had a hit song. It was always on Much Music and MTV and stuff like that. And it's from an album called The Garden. And that is Meryl Bainbridge. Kind of a quirky singer, folk rock, but then there's a little bit of rock to it. She even did a cover on this. I forget what the song was called. I think it was called Whispering Dogs or something like that. But it was a cover of a Bee Gees song, I do believe. And but the song that she's known for is the song Mouth. That was the song in 1995 that went worldwide. I wouldn't call it a barn burner or anything like that, but it's a very quirky. I don't know how to explain it. Very mellow, but then, there's some rock on it and stuff like that. So Meryl Bainbridge and the album The Garden, which The Garden is actually, I think it's might be the first song or the closer on it. But yeah, very cool stuff. Check it out. It's not a taste for everyone, but if you enjoy that quirky '90s British folky, rocky kind of stuff, then you might like this one. All right, love to see that one on vinyl record. Number 8. This is the only album that I have on this list that is from the 2000s. And this one kind of, once again, this kind of has a cool story involved in it. I went to university in Windsor, Ontario I lived there for 7 years, and I got to know this woman that was there, and she knew this particular musician, and I entered into a contest. I think it was on a local radio station or something in Windsor, and I ended up getting a free CD. And this was the CD that I ended up getting. It wasn't autographed by this musician or anything like that, but he is from the Windsor area. I'm not sure if he's from Leamington or Windsor proper, but his name is Jody Raffoul, and the album is called Like a Star. And it features a song that was a really big hit in at least the Windsor area, and probably in Detroit, Michigan. It probably got some airplay, and it was a song called Light of Day. I don't know exactly how it topped out on the charts, but definitely, he's more of a rock singer. But this is more of a soft rock, I would call it, or light rock. Very cool stuff. I'm not sure if you can stream it, but if you can stream it, check out Light of Day, Jody Raffoul. Yeah, I know he's a great Canadian musician. Released tons of albums prior to this, but really it's the only one that I know. And I think it would be cool to have that one on vinyl, because I think that the quality of the songs and the songs that are written for this one are representative of a great vinyl sound. So Jody Raffoul, Like a Star, at the number 8 spot. All right, at number 7, another Canadian musician. During his career, he's gone by Lawrence Gowan, he's gone by just Gowan, and now he's playing with Styx, the band Styx. So Lawrence Gowan. But there's an album from 1993 that he has, and it is called "But You Can Call Me Larry." And this features multiple hits that he had. When There's Time for Love, that's a big one that was on this one. And Soul's Road, Dancing on My Own Feet Again. These are all great tracks. I think that this would be a great listen on vinyl record if they pressed it. I'm not quite sure exactly why they didn't. Once again, he's another musician that previous to this, he was releasing records, obviously, on vinyl, albums on vinyl. But in this case, I think it's one of the first ones that did not go on vinyl. So, But You Can Call Me Larry. Obviously, a little toy on his name, Lawrence Gowan, calling himself Larry in this case. But yeah, no, this album is great, straight through and through. Cry on My Shoulder, Innocent. These are all great songs. So yeah, check Gowan's But You Can Call Me Larry on CD. All right, number 6, we have Tom Cochrane. And in 1997, Tom Cochrane released kind of an acoustic album. I think this, if I remember right, my dad got me this album as a gift. I don't remember really ordering it. Excuse me. But I do remember getting it, and it came with a cardboard case, not a jewel case, but it came with a cardboard case. And it's his album Songs of a Circling Spirit from 1997. And it covers things like Lunatic Fringe and multiple other songs that he did when he was with Red Rider. I don't think Life is a Highway was on it. Might have been, but it's predominantly an acoustic album. Very cool stuff. The way that he does it. He's kind of changed the rhythm and the tempo of a lot of the songs, kind of turned them into something not necessarily like radio-like, something that you wouldn't hear on mainstream radio, but more he's taken it and created these songs in his own way. So he's kind of changed it up a bit. So that's Songs of a Circling Spirit by Tom Cochrane. I would love to see this one on vinyl record, 1997. All right, we are getting to the top five. These are the big ones. And so each of these, I mean, I could probably mix them up at any other time and, change the order. But as of right now, my thoughts, these would be the top five albums in order that I would like to see on vinyl record. So sticking with, my support for Canadian musicians. I mean, I've just got to do this. I think that they're great. Like I said, a lot of these have memories for me, whether it's from my high school days, university days, and this next one is no different. And that is the band The Watchmen. I can't remember where they're from in Canada. I think it's from Manitoba, but I'm not 100% sure. But The Watchmen had an album called In the Trees from 1994. And In the Trees had hit songs like Boneyard Tree, Lusitania, and there was another one, All Uncovered. That was a great hit by this band. But there is a story that kind of goes with this. I did see The Watchmen in concert, just a small concert at the University of Windsor pub back in 1998, 1999. I was there. I was living in residence, and me and a couple of buddies of mine, we went to the campus pub, and The Watchmen were playing. And needless to say, it's the only concert I've ever been to that I've kind of been kicked out of. Not because I did anything wrong, but the people that I was with, one of them got a little too inebriated and ended up getting a little bit ill due to the sheer quality of the bass that was going on. We were sitting kind of right in front of the speakers and the soundboard mixing system from their engineers and the producers that were there. And needless to say, the bouncer kicked us out 3/4 of the way through this particular performance, but I did get to hear all the great hits from the In the Trees that I wanted to. They were there to kind of showcase this album, even though this one was released in 1994. So yeah, there's your little story about The Watchmen, but I love this band. They're a great band, Canadian, mainly rock, but they can pull out the soft stuff, the ballads, all that good stuff. All Uncovered, as I mentioned, was a hit on this, and it was played at all the high school dances. Slow song, grab a girl, get out on the dance floor, and you got yourself a date there. So The Watchmen, In the Trees, I'd love to see released on vinyl. All right, at the number 4 spot, this is a soundtrack, and recently Peter Scove from Music is a Journey just did a video on this particular soundtrack. Now it's based on a like a punk kind of documentary called A Tribute to Hardcore Logo. And this one I do have on CD. It has never been released on anything but CD. I think, according to Discogs, there might even be only 3 or 4 different releases of this particular album, but it features mainly Canadian musicians, and they've done some covers and they've done some cool punky stuff. There's actually a song, the last track on it is by a guy named Sun. I don't even think he has anything released on vinyl, but there's a song that he does called Blue Tattoo. I think it's just a quirky song. I love it. And there's just a whole pile of different Canadian bands that are on there. 5440 is another one. Pursuit of Happiness, I believe, does an appearance on it. So yeah, there's some really cool stuff. If you like punk music, and if you've ever seen this particular tribute, I haven't seen it, but I've heard it's a really good documentary. I recommend that just based on principle of what I've heard other people say. So Hardcore Logo soundtrack, I would love to see released on a vinyl record. All right, top 3. So this one has more of a sentimental value, and it, once again, it's another one of these albums that the band was releasing vinyl albums prior to this I believe this is another one of those instances where this is the first one they released on CD. It's definitely released on cassette, but they did not release it on vinyl, and I think it was the first time that they didn't release on vinyl. And that is the country band. And so once again, you're seeing a diverse list here of stuff from me. But that is the band Restless Heart and their album Big Iron Horses from 1992. So there used to be, I forget, there was a channel that was on our satellite dish. I can't remember what it was. And anyway, it was a music channel, and at the bottom of the screen, there were these numbers with a band and a song, and there was a phone number, and you could call it in. I believe this was in the United States, but you could call it in if you wanted to watch a specific music video. You just called it in, and you typed in the number of that song, and once they got to it, it would be played on that particular channel. You could see the video and all that kind of stuff. I can't remember the name of that particular station. If anybody knows, leave a comment in the section below. But Big Iron Horses was one of the records that was on there. And this has their hit song, When She Cries. And I used to really love that song. But to me, this particular album, from start to finish, it's got sentimental value. There's songs on it about, a little boy watching trains and sitting there kind of doing things with his grandfather. There's songs on there about father and son, things like that. I just think that for me, from a memory perspective, this has a lot to do with my childhood, or my early teen years, I should say. Just brings back some memories from that particular time period. So yeah, Restless Hearts, Big Iron Horses. I would love to see this one on vinyl record, but for whatever reason, I don't think that would. I think out of all of them, this one might be the least likely to go on vinyl record. All right, at the number 2 spot, we have, and this is one of the biggest concerts. This one was in the United States, but is the sequel to, obviously, Woodstock, and this is Woodstock 94. Now, I remember this one like the back of my hand. I was in grade 10 when that concert went out. They call it Mudfest to a degree. Not as bad as the 1999 Woodstock, but I mean, lots of mud being thrown around. This particular album had Nine Inch Nails. It had Primus. The Cranberries were there. Metallica performed there. Jackal performed there. So there was a ton of different bands that were performing at this particular Woodstock. Now, the thing is that there are some individual bands. I believe Green Day is one of them, and I know Nine Inch Nails was another one, that have released. I don't know if it's unofficial copies or if they officially release these, but I know that Green Day and Nine Inch Nails have their set list from Woodstock 94 on vinyl. What I would like to see is this particular box set. It was a 2 CD set, I believe. And so in order to do this particular album, they would have to probably turn this one into a 4 record set. And but I mean, it's got tons of great music on it. Just love the Woodstock 94. It also has a couple of public announcements that are on it and that kind of great stuff. But this one, from my high school days, I was obsessed with this. I remember watching this particular little clips of it on Much Music, watching them play the recordings of the bands playing and stuff like that. Very cool stuff. And it also, there was actually a VHS tape that was released with this as well. So if you are one of the fortunate ones that have the VHS tape, it's a pretty cool watch. You can see all the concerts and performances on that particular VHS tape. So check that out. And so number 2, we got Woodstock 94. I would love to see this released on vinyl record. And finally, at the number 1 spot, and this is probably in my top 5, if not top 3 albums of the 90s ever released. And it is a British musician named Martin Page, and his album In the House of Stone and Light. I I would love to see this released on vinyl record. If it ever came out on vinyl record, I would be the first one there purchasing it online, no matter what the cost is on this one. I think it's a great, great album from start to finish. So if it starts with "In the House of Stone and Light," there's a song called "Put on Your Red Dress." That is a mellow song. This album goes over everything from strife to abuse in the home, but then there's some love songs on it. So it kind of covers all different bases of different types of things that were going on. Maybe not necessarily just in British society, but in general. Possibly some personal experiences to Martin Page. I'm not 100% sure, but this album it's solid from start to finish, at least in my opinion. If I am going to, get everybody to check out a specific album, if I'm going to, give this one a triumph, I would definitely do this. Like, I am a champion of this album. Yeah, so definitely check this one out. I'd love to see this on vinyl. Martin Page, "In the House of Stone and Light," 1997. I was in my late high school years, just about ready to graduate when I heard this. So it resonates with me a ton. So yeah, there we have it. 12 albums I would love to see released on vinyl record. In the comments section below, what are your thoughts? Do you remember any of these particular albums? Do you think that they should be released on vinyl record? If not, let me know why. If you do, let me know why you think they should be released on vinyl record, and maybe you can give me some insight as to, if you even think that these, if the record labels would even bother releasing these on vinyl record. Yeah, obviously there's some, the 1990s wasn't a period of vinyl record, quantity. Those records from the 1990s, a lot of them, especially the grunge ones, are worth quite a bit of money, hard to find. So yeah, I'm glad to see that some of the artists, I've championed Amanda Marshall in a couple of videos, and she just had one of her albums from the 90s released on vinyl, Tuesday's Child. So yeah, if she can do it, then some of these other bands and musicians can do it too, and the record label should as well. I think that would be great. Let me know your thoughts in the comments, and until next time, we will see you. Stay safe.